at 10, holding Minnesota's federal lawmakers accountable.
Voters expect their lawmakers to show up.
Tonight, the new tool that shows just how many votes they're missing. Plus, a big change in the transportation game at MSP International.
Macy's announces big new plans for its historic downtown Minneapolis store.
And Minnesota's grocery wars. How you are changing the battle plan in tonight's Take Care of Your Money report. All those stories in a moment, but we start tonight with a deluge in the Twin Cities, the same system that left behind possible tornado damage in Des Moines and snow in Denver.
The bands of rain continue to fall heavily across the state. Belle's in the backyard with totals so far and a look at what's ahead. Hi, Belle.
Well, hi, Randy. 7 hours of rain for many of us, and a lot of it very heavy. Wait till you see the wind gusts, but we can see the pivots of heavy rain still spiraling over the Twin Cities. And as we zoom in, you can see the heavy rain is going to be around with the lead or the back edge still a ways off. When it comes to how much rain has already fallen, anywhere between 1 to 2 inches has already fallen in the metro. And here are some totals early on, just adding up hour to hour. 1.48 here in the Twin Cities, 2.67 into Richmond, around 1.25 inches in Crystal. And with that, we have the winds to talk about tonight. They're north at 17. They're sustained north at 39 at Jackson. But as we speak, we have wind gusts up to 56 miles per hour in Jackson. And all of those strong winds are heading in our direction. So it is going to be a very windy night. And your storm timeline does call for this to last through the morning hours and then for the rest of the day to be quite windy tomorrow. We'll have all the details coming up through the 7-day in just a few moments.
All right, thank you, Belle. Taxi drivers may soon have new competition at the airport.
The Metropolitan Airport Commission is considering allowing UberX drivers to pick up fares there. Adrienne Broaddus joins us live with that story tonight. Adrienne?
Good evening to you. Here's something you don't see often: phone books with the bold message taxi service. And soon travelers could see something else: Uber and Lyft drivers waiting to pick them up.
Take your pick. Hailing a taxi at the Minneapolis International Airport is easy, but travelers like Jim Stringen,
I usually don't use cabs.
want options. He said he likes fares that are cheaper than taxis.
Rides are expensive.
And soon, this frequent traveler could have additional options. The Metropolitan Airports Commission is drafting an ordinance that would allow ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft. Part of the examination includes reviewing fees and charges from other airports who use the service. But the bigger issue, insurance concerns.
Being able to identify a vehicle that is being driven for higher services and insurance requirements.
Other airports across the country have reported congestion problems, something this committee doesn't want to happen in Minnesota.
And we want to make sure that these vehicles are held to active loading and unloading only.
In December, the committee will have a public meeting, but no action will be taken. Representatives from Uber and Lyft are optimistic.
I'm excited at the potential for UberX at the airport.
I'll tell you what I like about Uber: the cleanliness of their vehicles. I like they're more affordable than cabs.
So how soon can we see this? A spokesperson at the airport says they hope to have the plan in place by January. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Adrienne. Well, Macy's stock tumbled 14% today on news that the retailer struggled through slumping third quarter sales. But instead of closing more stores like it did earlier this year, Macy's is looking to give its showcase stores in New York, San Francisco, Chicago, and right here in Minneapolis a big makeover. Chris Harapsky joins us with details and reaction, all new at 10. Chris?
Julie, after Macy's closed in Brookdale 6 years ago and St. Paul 2 years ago, it's been unclear what the future of the Nicollet Mall store would be. Put that to bed. Macy's says it plans to redevelop the downtown location, calling it one of its flagship properties today. Macy's executives saying they're exploring options with third parties to see what else they can do with the underutilized space, as the Macy's store only takes up about half the iconic Dayton's building. One retail expert believes Macy's will follow what it already did in Seattle and New York, which is downsize and revamp the Macy's store and lease out the extra floors.
I think they'll compact it. They'll either lease off the space, but I think they would really rather capture the capital, and that is sell off a certain number of floors. And really, as it is right now, there are probably 7-8 stories that they could do that with.
So what might move in there? Unclear. Macy's says it has no predeterminations at this point. I also asked Macy's if this might affect the old Dayton's traditions of Santaland on the 8th floor atrium or the Oak Grill on the 12th floor. Spokesperson said Macy's cherishes these traditions and plans to continue. No timeline on when the redevelopment might take shape.
All right, thank you, Chris. It is another blow to the billion-dollar daily fantasy sports industry. New York's Attorney General declared it illegal gambling last night, and as Lou Raguse explains, that has many wondering about the future of FanDuel and DraftKings in Minnesota.
Breeze has been one of the hottest quarterbacks going.
In daily fantasy football, players each week choose an optimal lineup.
If I was picking it, Bortles looks like a good pick against Baltimore, who is very bad.
With the goal of winning money against other people across the country. For 1 week, Gene Sham of Brooklyn Park had it all figured out.
I ran up and down the bar over there and high-fiving, and the people that were sitting at the bar were kind of looking at me strangely, what's he doing? And my buddy said, he just won $1 million. That's what he just did.
But companies FanDuel and DraftKings are reeling after New York joined 6 other states in declaring fantasy sports illegal.
New York's Attorney General sent cease and desist letters to DraftKings and FanDuel, telling them their commercials are misleading and that daily fantasy sports are games of chance.
Quite simply, I don't think the Attorney General in New York is correct.
Minnesota State Representative Joe Atkins from Inver Grove Heights believes skill is involved. He doesn't want daily fantasy sports banned, but he wants them regulated. He's introducing a bill requiring oversight moving forward.
So that if you win, you know that you're going to be able to collect.
That could be irrelevant if Minnesota's Attorney General Lori Swanson follows New York's lead. In the meantime, at Willie McCoy's in Chaplin, Gene is still playing each week.
Doesn't hurt anybody.
Lou Raguse, KARE 11 News.
Minnesota Attorney General Lori Swanson did not return our messages for comment. Meanwhile, DraftKings and FanDuel vow to fight the New York ban in court.
As our nation pauses to honor veterans today, the seemingly endless scandal for the agency that's sole mission is to serve veterans rages on. Today, a new report by our news partners at USA Today shows the VA continues to pay millions of dollars in employee bonuses. The biggest bonus earner last year in Minnesota was Kim Graves. The head of the St. Paul Benefits Office received $8,600. Graves is currently under federal investigation. She's accused of using her authority to improperly create her job and received $129,000 for moving expenses.
We are getting a closer look tonight at how many votes congressional members miss and what excuses they give.
It comes as missed votes have become political fodder in the presidential race. A major Florida newspaper called on Marco Rubio to step down after he missed 44% of Senate votes. Senators don't have to explain missed votes, but they can in the House, and they often do. New at 10, John Croman shows us how often Minnesota's delegation is missing in action.
There are hundreds of votes each year in the U.S. House. You have to be there to take part.
The framers of the United States Constitution expected members of Congress to show up in person.
ProPublica launched a new search app that lets you see how many votes your member has missed since 2007 and what explanations, if any, they offered.
It allows us to do even the most basic check. Are you doing your job? We're paying you. We've elected you. Are you doing your job? This study gives us a nice bird's eye view of that.
The Minnesota delegation fared well, ranging from rookie Tom Emmer, who's missed only 0.2% of his votes in his first year, to Keith Ellison, who's missed 5.9% since 2007. Even that is better than the 8% average for Congress.
Minnesota, as in other areas, is part of the Boy Scouts of Congress.
I think that making votes is incredibly important. I take it very, very seriously.
56 of Ellison's missed votes were due to an emergency knee surgery in 2011.
Missed votes all week long because I snapped my patellar tendon.
The Pope of the Holy See.
Betty McCollum missed the Pope's visit, but explained she was at her son's wedding in Japan. Climate? Rick Nolan on June 1st, unavoidably detained due to inclement weather. Travel? Eric Paulson, June 3rd, airplane equipment problems.
The main reason for the personal explanations function is so that members of Congress can get on the record. For example, Colin Peterson here wrote, "Had I been present, I would have voted yay."
Thank you.
Most members would rather just be there.
I'm not satisfied because I would like to I'd like to have 0 score.
In Minneapolis, John Croman, KARE 11 News.
To do your own search, we have a link to the ProPublica website posted with this story on KARE11.com.
Still ahead at 10, a busy day in the sports department with a new Gopher football coach and a shakeup with the Twins.
And next, supermarket saturation.
To me, seems like it's exploded.
How you're changing the way grocery stores do business. Next.
But first, a day of reflection as we honor our nation's heroes. As we go to break, here are the sights and sounds from local Veterans Day ceremonies today.
It is an all-out grocery war in the Twin Cities. Lund's Byerly's, Cub Foods, Super Target, Kowalski's, and now Hy-Vee. The list of supermarkets in the Twin Cities continues to grow, and you're the driving force behind it all. Here's KARE 11's Chris Harapsky.
Hello, how's it going?
Behind the scenes of your favorite supermarket, there's a war going on.
Is it heating up? Yeah, absolutely.
Fundamental shifts in what we buy.
This is the Italian stallion.
How we buy.
We feel like we compete against everybody.
And where we buy our food.
Who's your direct competition?
Anybody selling food.
That means supermarkets, supercenters, specialty markets, co-ops, hard discounters, hardware stores, gas stations, and, oh yeah, the internet, all competing for your fridge.
There's so many new entrants in the last 5 years is when it really, to me, seems like it's exploded.
Let's start with where we buy our food.
What I always tell my students, when we go food shopping, we are gloriously inconsistent all the time.
U of M marketing professor George Johns says stores no longer survive on shopper loyalty. He says the growth of high-end specialties
This is a French Gruyere.
and hard discounters continue to squeeze profits from traditional middle market stores, and customers cross over frequently.
It's a myth to think that you can stay in business from your core customer group.
According to Food Market Institute, almost half of primary shoppers in multi-person households make lists for different stores when they shop.
There are certain things that I can get here that I can't get anywhere else.
And those choices are everywhere.
Case in point, I'm standing in the parking lot of Southdale Mall in Edina, and if you were to draw a 3-mile radius around me, up we go. Here's what you'd see. In just those 3 miles, there are 14 different grocery stores. 14 in 3 miles.
And if that wasn't enough, enter another big player trying to wedge its way into the market.
We felt it would be a good time for us to enter the market and offer what the Hy-Vee experience is of the Twin Cities.
Des Moines-based Hy-Vee recently opened 90,000 square foot stores in New Hope and Oakdale. The look and feel aimed more at Lund's Byerly's, the prices more in line with Cub Foods.
5 years from now, 20 to 25 Hy-Vee stores around the community, all across the Twin Cities.
Grocers tell us a big part of the shift in business is based on what consumers are buying.
There's a focus on health and wellness and what am I eating?
Trace Lund is the CEO of Lund's and Byerly's. He operates 29 stores in the Twin Cities. A year and a half ago, they reset their salad bars with superfoods and grains.
Sales in our salad bar were up double digit for the entire year after the launch of that item.
The health kick landed right in Kowalski's lap, too. The company has expanded to 10 stores, all built on the fresh market theme.
We have had organics and natural offerings in our stores for decades. But all of a sudden, our customer who's been with us the whole time will say, oh, you have organics and natural. I'm so excited.
Nowadays, if I want an organic apple, I don't even have to leave the couch. All I need is my phone.
Which brings us to how we buy our food. According to Nielsen, 12% of North America already uses online grocery delivery, with 55% of respondents willing to use it.
This is not a normal grocery store.
This is not. We are shopping for 8 customers all in one trip here.
At Coburn's Delivers Mega Warehouse in New Hope, your online grocery order is collected, loaded in the truck, and delivered either that day or the next day.
We've recently enjoyed some double-digit growth year over year.
Is this organic?
Whether or not you see it,
Our ammunition is our brand.
the grocery war is here.
We feel we're going to win.
And the grocers we spoke with say they are up for the fight.
There'll be plenty of room for the best operators to compete and win.
Chris Harapsky, KARE 11 News.
Well, we reached out to Cub Foods, but a company spokesman told us they couldn't discuss their business strategies. Meantime, the Twin Cities Consumer Checkbook comes out tomorrow. The magazine's price survey found that prices at Hy-Vee's newly opened stores were 4% lower than Cub's. We'll have more on that tomorrow on our newscast at 5 o'clock. And if you think the grocery market here is saturated, take a look at this. According to Stagnito Business Information's marketing guidebook, the Minneapolis region has room to grow with 606 supermarkets. Like-sized markets like Denver, Seattle, and Phoenix have more supermarkets than the Twin Cities. And some smaller markets like Milwaukee, smaller cities, have significantly more grocery stores, which is somewhat surprising, I guess, to me.
Hard to believe that.
More
This is
choice
such
is
a
always good,
great
though.
grocery town. We have so many phenomenal options. I'm a person
That's
that
true.
I like to go to all of them, actually. I like grocery shopping. Tonight would not be a good night for that, guys. And you know, we all know that if you've been out at all tonight. So let's take a look at the numbers. 53 and 42. Very, very wet day with 1.48 inches falling since really 3 o'clock. Look at this very powerful system dropping tornadoes in Iowa, snow in Colorado, snow in Nebraska, and now snow still falling where the tornadoes dropped down earlier today. So that's pretty remarkable. We, of course, on the northern fringe of this, just dealing with the very strong winds and the very heavy bands of rain. So what does your day look like tomorrow? The heaviest rain should stop between 7 and 8 a.m. in the morning. And then it looks as though after that, just lots of clouds, very windy conditions. Wind gusts will still be up to 35 miles per hour through lunchtime, and then it will start to taper through the day. As you can see, by 10 o'clock tomorrow night, it's 38 degrees, but as of right now, it's 48, so we'll stay pretty mild through the evening hours. Off to our west, though, this is the colder air that's going to come in for the latter portion of the week. And with that, the winds, again, this is the wind forecast, up to 50 miles per hour as of 1 a.m. That's what we're seeing in southern Minnesota right now. And by morning, there it is, 36 mile per hour wind gusts possible, a very windy start to your Thursday that by late afternoon starts to get a little bit better. That's because that's when the low finally does pull away and it will tug down that colder air where there will be just a little bit of snow that will fall in northern Minnesota. So for tomorrow, temperatures toggling between 41 to 45, but with the winds, it'll feel like the 30s. So dress tomorrow for the 30s, of course, and waterproof in the morning. Then as we get to Friday, it'll be once again chilly. So here's the forecast when it comes to the rain. It spins through. By 6 a.m., you have the last bands moving through. They're much lighter than the current heavy bands. And then the clouds clear late in the day tomorrow, and that is when a little bit of light snow will move across the northern part of the state. And that'll be through Friday morning. So when it comes to any kind of accumulation, it looks like just a dusting to an inch, other than where the lake gets involved in northern Wisconsin. We get back to the 7-day forecast. Again, on Friday, we'll have a flurry or two in the morning, and we'll have clearing skies. The winds will die down. It'll be a chilly day. And then we get to Saturday and Sunday, and it is looking remarkably better. High pressure rolls in. We're able to rebound back to 54 on Saturday. Sunday, 57, where the average high is typically 41. And then next week, the rain returns on Monday. It'll be 53. We're right back down to a seasonal 40-degree temperature as we move through Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. But a pretty impressive storm. Of course, 75 years ago, we had the Armistice Day blizzard. Nothing like that, but November can really stir up a storm, and today we saw it.
Or it can surprise the heck out of you like this weekend.
I know,
Just
you're
crazy.
right. Pretty remarkable.
The timing has been fantastic. Thanks, pal.
All right.
Well, our own Sven Sundgaard is at the polar bear capital, Churchill, Manitoba. Today, Sven rode in a tundra buggy with photojournalist Rob Collette, where they got up close with wild polar bears.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? You can watch more from Sven and Rob tomorrow morning, starting at 6 a.m. on KARE 11 Sunrise. That looks unbelievable. Well, coming up in sports, Teddy Bridgewater returns to practice.
Plus, the nation's top swimmers hit the pool at the University of Minnesota.
KARE 11 Sports from the Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine Sports Desk.
Jumping up to number 5 in the latest college football playoff rankings, the Iowa Hawkeyes continue to enjoy a magical season. They, of course, get the Gophers Saturday with the Floyd of Rosedale up for grabs. And what a way to christen his brand new head coaching job that would be for Tracy Claeys. A win at Iowa, freshly promoted as Jerry Kill's successor. The longtime assistant signs a 3-year deal with the U today.
I wanted the opportunity to be the head football coach here, and we were always on the same page as far as all that goes. So there was no need for an agent.
He's definitely a competitive guy. He wants to win every game. He wants to win every play, and he holds us to a high standard.
Good news with the Vikings as Teddy Bridgewater takes about half the snaps at today's practice. Quarterback making progress, according to his head coach, after suffering a concussion Sunday in the team's win over the Rams. In just under 9 months, they will be front and center of the sporting universe when the Rio Summer Olympics fire up in Brazil. But for the next few days, athletes like Missy Franklin, Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte, they'll all be here competing at the U of M Aquatic Center. It's the first stop on the 2015-2016 Arena Pro Swim Series. Over 600 swimmers in all, but a chance to see those who will take our breaths away at the Olympics next summer. Well worth the modest price of admission.
I'm just looking forward to getting in the water and racing again more than anything. You know, kind of coming off of nationals and having, like I said, a lot more training under my belt at this point of the year than I did last year.
We'll make that 13 wins in a row now for the Gopher women's volleyball team after disposing of Northwestern tonight. This town's best-kept sports secret is getting to be less and less of a secret, and that's a good thing because they're going to need some backup Saturday night. The #1 ranked Gophers hosting #5 Penn State at the Pavilion. National Signing Day, and so many Minnesotan high schoolers making their dreams come true today. Far too many to recognize, but here are just a few. Apple Valley wrestler Mark Hall is a special athlete. He has a chance to become the state's first 6-time champ this winter. But before that happens, the nation's top recruit announces today he's choosing Penn State over Minnesota.
I truly believe that, where I'm going to end up at Penn State is going to be magical.
Big day over at Hopkins. 8 signees in total, including a D1 duo from last year's state champion basketball team. Nia Hawley heading to Michigan State, Ashley Bates to Hampton. Hopkins also home to the state's top recruit on the boys' side, Amir Coffey, who's going to be a Gopher. And we wrap things up with a Shakopee signing, Taylor Kanan. Arguably the best basketball player in the state, heading south to play for the Tar Heels at North Carolina.
Once you see the Carolina way, there's no other way. So it's just a great feeling to finally be official.
And we officially will be right back.
Well, this year's Holidazzle has a new venue. Loring Park will play host while the Nicollet Mall is under construction. It will feature a free ice skating rink. There will also be plenty of entertainment and Minneapolis vendors. The fun will start on November 27. And here's another sign that Christmas is right around the corner. Santa arrived at the Mall of America tonight. This year, Santa is collecting donations for Toys for Tots during his stay in the Sears Court. KARE 11's Toys for Tots drive begins on December 4th. Hey, Santa.
We waited for it to get more Christmas-like around here.
Well,
Chillier.
at least, a little
now,
windy
anyway.
as well. Kind of blew in there, so it's all good.
Thanks for watching.
We appreciate it. Sunrise tomorrow morning. We'll see you tomorrow at 5.